At number 10, it's Super Mario Bros. Of course it's going to be on this list because it's an absolute classic. And I remember seeing this for the very first time at a friend's house, and I was just amazed by the fact that you could move across the screen and the screen follows you. I'd never seen that before. I mean, before that, I'd had a Spectrum and an Atari 2600, and for the most part, all those games were kind of just static screen to screen. So seeing this game where this character moves from the left to the right, that was my first introduction to a NES at a friend's house, and I was just like, what? It's amazing. And that incredible music as well, and the fact that we could all pretty much just remember that first stage, World 1-1. I mean, everybody knows that. You could probably just draw it out, can't you? Okay, number 9, Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. Now, this is a game I only got into recently, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. Like, look at it, look at the crazy big sprites. It's just an amazing platform game, again, with some amazing music, but really fun to play, and it's actually quite challenging as well. When I played it on stream, I had to play through it a good few times to just get to know every stage in and out to get to the end, and it just felt so satisfying completing the game, and I can't wait to play it again. It's one of those ones. Recently, I've been playing a lot of licensed games, and as soon as I saw this one come up, I thought, it's not going to be any good. I've not heard of it, and I was really, really pleasantly surprised. It is a really good game. Check it out if you haven't. It makes number 9 on my best of list. Okay, number 8, Mega Man 2. So last year, I broke my Mega Man cherry. That's just a weird phrase, but I'm going with it. Anyway, I was always worried about Mega Man. I thought it was going to be too hard for me. I thought it was just those games that, top tier players and gamers would have to play, and I'll stick to the, the well-known games and all that stuff. I could not go near those. But you know what? I was missing out because the Mega Man games are amazing. I've only played the first 3 games so far. I do plan to play 4 onwards on my Twitch stream. But out of the 3, 2 is the one that kind of knocked me sideways, I think. I mean, the music in all 3 of them is amazing, but 2 took it up a notch. And it was challenging, but it felt like fair in the second game compared to the first one. It is an incredible platformer. Get onto it if you've never done. It's weird saying that because this game is ancient. Obviously, you guys, you might have played it already. But if there's someone out there who's the same as me, who's thinking, I don't know if I can play those games, give it a go. It is really good. I keep hammering through it, learn the stages. It is brilliant. Okay, number 7, Bucky O'Hare. Now, this was an unexpected one, really, because again, as I was saying before with Jackie Chan, I was playing a lot of licensed games. So when this one came up, I thought, well, I haven't really heard anything about Bucky O'Hare game. I remember the cartoon back in the day, obviously, but the game, I was like, yeah. It ended up being absolutely amazing. Lots of variations in the stages, and for the NES, that's incredible because a lot of platformers, because I've been playing recently, it's just the same thing every stage, it's just with a slightly different backdrop. Bucky O'Hare has got so much variation to the game, and you can change out your characters, which for me is one of my biggest favourite things in games. I love that. Like, think Psycho Fox on the Master System or Super Mario Bros. 2, those kind of games. But each of these characters have different abilities, and I absolutely love that. So that coupled with really good game variation, really good music, and it looks great, big sprites, a bit like Jackie Chan in a way, and really challenging gameplay, made for a perfect game for me. And also sprinkle on top that it's got infinite continues, so you never feel like you have to start again. It's just, you can take off exactly from where you were. Number 6, talking about Super Mario Bros. 2, it's Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, I'd seen and played Super Mario Bros. 1 as a kid and loved it, and then when I saw Super Mario Bros. 2, I was like, how could they do this? This is incredible. Again, I love the fact that you could change out different characters. Of course, I did not know, being a kid, that this was based on Doki Doki Panic, another game, so don't at me with all that stuff. I didn't know that as a kid, and you probably didn't know that either. It was a brilliant game back in the day, and I know like people knock it, saying it was like kind of the black sheep out of the Mario games, but no, I thought it was great. Going from Super Mario Bros. 1 to this was just a leap, a crazy leap, and it was just absolutely nuts. Okay, number 5 is Faxanadu, or Faxanadu, or whatever, I don't know, Xanadu, and however you want to pronounce it. This was pretty much my first RPG I ever played, and it stuck with me. I completed this as a kid, and it felt like an amazing challenge that I'd just done. It felt so satisfying. You know, one of those games that you complete and you stand up and go, yeah, and there's no one around to applaud. You're like, all right. It felt a bit like that. I won't say brilliant graphics, great music, great platforming, but it's basically a 2D platform game, and it's so damn good. It was the first game actually that comes to mind that subverted my expectations, because I remember there's a part in the game where you go into a shop And normally when you go into a shop, you hear this music, which was like do 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 do, and you felt safe because the shopkeeper's going to ask you, do you want meat or whatever he does. It's been a while since I played it, but there's this point in the game where you go in a shop and there's an enemy in there, and I always remember being freaked out because they kind of brainwashed you or conditioned you to hear this music and feel, safe. It's kind of what you'd feel like in Resident Evil. You know what I mean? When you go into those rooms where you do the typewriter. Imagine if there were enemies in there. There probably has been since the first Resident Evil, but that's what comes to mind when I think about that. But my word, the passwords in that game, that's the only thing is, I mean, thank God you can save it because you have to, because it's a massive game. But the password system, I mean, a lot of games are like that anyway. But if you have to try and write out the passwords, you're like, for hours and hours and hours and hours and end because it's so long. Okay, number 4, we've got Batman. Wow. Batman. What can I say about Batman? I played this for the first time on stream, and my regret about this game is that I never played it as a kid because I was such a big fan of the movie when I was a kid. I mean, I won't even go into the childhood trauma stories that I was talking about on Twitch that come with that movie. But anyway, I absolutely love the film, and I wish I played this as a kid because it's so good, and it's quite loyal to the film in lots of ways. I mean, God, it just looks cool. If you feel cool playing it, it's got some really good mechanics with jumping off the walls and all that stuff. It's super challenging. It feels like the whole game is like a tutorial just for the last stage, because the last stage where you kind of climbing this bell tower, to get to the Joker, which is a bit like the first movie, and that is super challenging. It's almost kind of perfect for me. It's one of those games. I mean, the music is absolutely incredible. Almost perfect game for me. 3 beats it, and that's Teenage Mutant Hero / Ninja Turtles. The whole thing over here. We got Hero Turtles over here. This was the first NES game I owned because it came with my NES. It was the NES pack-in, which was like 1990. I guess the Christmas of 1990 was when I got my NES. And it was incredible. I was a massive Turtles fan at the time, so I've got a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in this. And the fact you could switch out characters, I've already talked about the fact that I love that in games, especially the early ones, and the all different abilities with basically the weapons, how, the much range you had. Like Raphael had his size, to be really quick, and Donatello has his staff, but he had longer range, but he was slow with it. Obviously, we had opted for Donatello, as your best turtle in that game, because there was a lot of times where you needed more range, Raphael is always going to be my favourite turtle. But the game was super tough. I never managed to beat it back in the day. I always got inside the Technodrome, near Shredder, and then had no turtles left. So the only time I got to beat it was actually quite recently on my Twitch stream, and it was such an achievement. I'm glad to got to share that with other people because it felt really nice, you know what I mean, to kind of like close off that gap. I'm gonna play it again at some point as well. But yeah, first NES game I owned. Great music, great tie-ins to the show, loads of characters from the cartoon show. If you were a fan of the cartoon show, then you're going to be a fan of this game, as hard as it was. But I love it. But number 2 is Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably thought that was going to be my number 1, but it's not. It was so important, like culturally, and when I was a kid, because everybody was talking about it. It was the thing to have a NES for. And my first memory of Super Mario Bros. 3 was going to friends. I mean, this friend had every system. I'll tell you, you always had one kid you knew when you were a kid who had everything. This kid had one, and I went over there, and I was like, oh my god, it looks great, and he flew. I was just like, that scene out of Jaws where you sit on the beach, that kind of the vertigo effect. That's what I felt like when I go back to that first moment of seeing Mario fly. It was incredible. I mean, I'd already get matched when I saw Mario do it in Super Mario World with the cape. But seeing it in Super Mario Bros. 3, seeing how far we've come from Super Mario Bros. 1 to 3 was insane. And you got the overworld map. And you can see all the levels and all that, and then all the secrets with the whistles and all that stuff, and the tie-in with the Wizard movie. It was just a great time to be a kid, but for me, it's not my favourite in this top 10. That would be Gremlins 2. Now, I know this is not going to be a top choice for a lot of people. I don't know why. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and obviously I'm a big Gremlins fan, if you didn't notice. But when I got Gremlins 2 for my birthday when I was a kid, and I always thought about this because my birthday's in June, so I had to wait like 6 months until I get another game for Christmas or whatever. It was very important for me. I played the hell out of this game. I was able to get through this game with 1 life, pretty much. So I just, I would use no continues or anything like that, and I just play it over and over again. I loved Gizmo, I loved everything about Gremlins, and this was so, in the same way I thought Batman was really good in a way that connected to the movie in some ways, this did it even better. It really did connect well with all the cutscenes, but you were basically following Gizmo's experience of Gremlins 2, and there was loads of little nods of all the different Gremlins that pop up in the movie, and then the boss at the end with the spider Gremlin. It was just like a sight to behold when you were a kid. It was worth getting to. And in the end, we have like that basically plays out the end of the movie. It felt really satisfying. God, it was so good. I can't say enough of how much I love this game. It's basically a top-down platformer, really, more than anything. But sprinkled in with all these gremlin enemies. But anyway, that is my top 10 NES games at the moment. And I say at the moment because I'm still playing through a lot of games I'd never played as a kid. Like, I've never played a Kirby game on a NES, and I said at the start, I've never played a Zelda game. I've never played like Ninja Gaiden. There's loads of like proper big titles I just never played as a kid. As I said before, I've got to get through Mega Man 4 onwards. I've only played the first Castlevania. So I've got to play the rest of those. There's so many titles I never got to. So please use the comments down below to suggest games that maybe I should try and tackle on my Twitch stream. At the moment, I've been playing Little Nemo, the Dream Master, which is pretty good. So I would like to do this again, maybe this time next year. Having played a lot of these games I've played on Twitch, and see if any of them knock out some of the other games in my top 10 at the moment. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.